Hi, Assalamualaikum to Dr. Ahmad FUAD and Mr. Abdul KAHAR. I am Haikazari bin RAMLI, and in this video, I will explain on my FYP project, which is vibration analysis of cordless impact wrench mechanical system using statistical analysis method. And my supervisor is Dr. Muhammad Irman bin RAMLI. Okay, this is the agenda of my presentation, which include introduction, literature review, and methodology. Okay, for introduction, okay, vibration is referred as a mechanical system's oscillatory. In simple way, this is the what is defined by vibration, which is the oscillation of this pendulum from point B to point A and point C. Okay, vibration not only happen on machine, but vibration can happen in everything, which include building, plants, human, even air and water particle vibrate. This is the example of the water vibration. Okay. Excess vibration will cause difficulty in variety of discipline, including mechanical, civil, and electrical engineering. For my FYP, I will focus on vibration of rotating machine. Since the excess vibration will cause difficulty, so condition monitoring of rotating machine is important to avoid catastrophic failures such as the incident of Tacoma Bridge, which shows us that the structure contain excessive variation until the structure cannot afford it. So the structure collapse. Okay, in order to implement condition monitoring, one of the method is vibration signal analysis. Okay, why vibration signal analysis? Because this is the one of the most accurate method to analyze the state of equipment. And from vibration signal analysis, we can identify the structure damage and the severity of the damage. Okay, let's focus on my study, which to study the vibration in cordless impact wrench. Okay, for this handy tool, okay, the vibration is a normal behavior, but when the damage occur, the vibration will act differently. Okay, and thus will make user feel uncomfortable due to excessive vibration. Okay, problem statement. Okay, there are three main components in cordless impact wrench, which are motor, bearing, and planetary gear. Okay, if the motor cannot perform at its best performance, it will affect the quality of work. Okay, other than that, the breakdown of the bearing will give user uncomfortable grip due to excessive vibration. Okay, breakdown of bearing might be caused by the inner and outer ring damage, roller element defect, and other damage. Okay, there are two objectives. Okay, the first one is to study the parameter to be measured on cordless impact wrench at speed of 4,200 RPM. Okay, meaning that to study the characteristic of the measured vibration signal from cordless impact wrench at speed of 4,200 RPM. Second one is to investigate the normal and abnormal data using vibration spectrum and statistical analysis method from MATLAB and Microsoft Excel. Meaning here, to investigate the no-faulty condition and faulty condition of cordless impact wrench by using vibration spectrum and statistical analysis method from MATLAB and Microsoft Excel. Okay, for the scope of the research, okay, the study will focus on cordless impact wrench motor faulty. Diagnostic involve three phases, which are experimental activities, signal data analysis, and result validation. Okay, for the transducer, accelerometer will be used to detect vibration signal, and the signal will be processed by DAQ, data acquisition. Okay, the third one is MATLAB and Microsoft Excel is assigned to filter the vibration spectrum and to produce the graph of statistical data. Okay, and the data will be represented by using FFT and vibration signal analysis. Okay, now let's move to literature review. Okay, here is the outline of my literature review. This one is cordless impact wrench. In cordless impact wrench, we need to identify what is in the tool. Okay, the first one we have a bearing here. Okay, in the gearbox system, and the second one planetary gearbox here. The third one hammer and wheel. This is hammer and this is anvil. Okay, and the last one is brushless motor. Okay, we need to identify this because it helped me to understand more on what I am studying about. Why we using the vibration analysis? Because it is because it demonstrates the real-time value immediately. And the second one is the frequency spectrum of vibration records can show unique statistic on circumstance of various component of device. Meaning here, spectrum of vibration signal can show unique characteristic of the value. It made me easier to identify the condition of the cordless impact wrench. Okay, now for the signal processing, there are three domains in signal processing or vibration analysis method. Okay, the first one is time domain. Example in this picture is a spectrum of amplitude with respect to time. Okay, from time domain, we can extract the statistical data such as skewness, RMS, peak, crest factor, and kurtosis. Okay, the second one is frequency domain. For frequency domain, it has fast Fourier transform method, capstone method, envelope method, and spectrum method. Okay, this is the typical of frequency domain. Okay, this for frequency domain, the spectrum is amplitude with respect to frequency. Okay, so what is the difference between these two? Okay, time domain is the domain of analysis for mathematical function such as statistical data, which I mentioned here, skewness, RMS, and so on, with respect to time. Okay, however, for frequency domain, it can show the mathematical function also, and it from the spectrum of frequency domain, we can study the mechanical system of the cordless impact wrench. Okay, the last one is time frequency domain. In time frequency domain, we have wavelet transform, Hilbert-Huang transform, Wigner-Will distribution, short time Fourier transform, and power spectral density. These all are the methodologies of time frequency domain. But for this study, we only focus on these two domain. Okay. For data acquisition, we need a transducer, which is the sensor. In vibration signal analysis method, there are three main sensor or transducer that is widely used. Okay, the first one is proximity sensor, this one. And second one is velocity sensor. And the last one is accelerometer sensor. Okay. In between these three sensor, the accelerometer is the best choice because it has improved frequency and dynamic range, minimal weight, and high sensitivity to be compared with these other two sensors. For signal filtering, okay, besides transducer, there are another aspect to be discussed, which is signal filtering. Okay, for this study, the signal filtering is AI based. Okay, there are two type of signal filtering, which is conventional and AI based or computer based. Okay, in the study, I will focus on the AI based, which include MATLAB and Microsoft Excel. Methodology. Okay, for the proposed methodology, okay, here is the proposed flow of the experiment, which is start with literature review, experiment setup like this, and signal parameter, set up the parameter, and doing the signal measurement, and signal filtering. After that, signal analysis. In this stage, if the signal or spectrum obtained is not as required. So I will repeat the signal measurement process until I get the expected result. Okay, then after signal analysis, result analysis, okay, if the result analysis is significant, and I will continue to the next stage. If not, I will repeat the previous process. Okay, then after the result analysis is good, so go to result comparison, discussion, and then conclusion, then finish. Okay, for the experiment setup here, okay, as you can see here, okay, here is the test specimen, which has a number of bolt welded to a piece of metal here. Okay, and there is a nut here. The nut will tighten at certain amount of torque, and the cordless impact wrench is required to loosening the nut. While the wrench is loosening the nut, the vibration occur in the process will be recorded using accelerometer. Thus, the DAQ will record vibration signal and keep it. After that, computer or PC or any kind of computer is connected to the DAQ, and the data is transferred to the laptop for data processor and filtering process by using MATLAB and Microsoft Excel. Okay, for the parameter of the experiment is stated here. Okay, the cordless impact wrench is run at maximum speed of 4200 RPM with full battery capacity of 4 ampere hour. 3 of the nut at the test specimen, which tighten at 50 Newton meter, 100 Newton meter, and 150 Newton meter of torque in two conditions. Okay, which is normal condition, no faulty, and the second one is abnormal condition. For this experiment, the abnormal condition or the faulty is the bearing that attach to the motor. Okay, now for the signal processing and filtering. Okay, after the data from accelerometer is recorded in the EQ, the data will be transferred into computer or laptop, and the signal processing and filtering will use AI-based software, which is MATLAB and Microsoft Excel. Okay, for MATLAB, the vibration data from the EQ is time domain. Okay, using fast Fourier transform FFT method to transform the data from time domain to frequency domain, so that the spectrum of the time domain data can be broken into statistical data, which can be calculated using Microsoft Excel, so that we can find the skewness, the RMS, and we can present the data in graph form. Okay, not only that, in MATLAB also, the spectrum of frequency domain can be studied. Okay, for example, the amplitude of the vibration and the pattern of the vibration can be studied and can be compared for normal and abnormal condition for all three nuts. For statistical analysis, what is the pattern of the graph for normal condition and abnormal condition? Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.